So in this video we're going to look at some indirect control of directional control valves. Okay, so previously what we looked at is we had a scenario like this where we had a 3-2 push button operated spring returned directional control valve, and we piped this directly into our single acting cylinder, which we have up here. But in many circumstances we have a separate valve that's actually doing the control. So this will control the extension and retraction of the piston, and our action, our input happens much earlier. Okay, so we've an extra piece to our circuit really. And if we zoom in, we'll just see how you get on this. You'll see some diagrams. I'll try and make this as clear as possible. And the main thing we want to look at is its actuation. You'll see that triangle, and that means it's pneumatically operated by a pilot line, which is like a pulse of air coming from another valve, and we see on the left it's got spring returned. Okay, so I suppose you can also say we've got our same sort of ports here. Then we've port 1 in there, hopefully we can see that, and then we have port 14 up here, and port 4, which is our output port. And these are customizable valves. You see here we can unscrew these and tap in on them and change it to maybe a 5-2 valve. Okay, but for the moment we're indirectly controlling this. What we're doing is the push button valve is going to allow air to flow in on this, and then the air pulse from this original valve is going to change this 3-2 valve here, which will then operate the cylinder. Okay, so our input could be much further down the line, operates our 3-2 valve by a pilot line, and then it operates our single acting cylinder. So we'll see that in action. So we're getting a pulse out of this valve, which operates this 3-2 valve, and then operates our piston. And I suppose the key thing to note as well is that each of these have their own, each of them have their own air supply, each of these valves. And what you could do, there's from port 1 going over to the manifold as well, you could have two different pressures coming from both valves, and once you have enough pressure on the pilot line to operate this, you could amplify or indeed reduce the air supply on either of these systems. If we take that over here, what we've got is we've got our 5-2, which is pilot operated and pilot returned. So you'll see that from the diagram here. So both sides have that triangular symbol for the pilot lines. So I need to give a pulse on either side to operate it. And I just have, so we've got a 5-2 valve there, and one side's being operated by a 3-2, another side's been operated by a 3-2, and then we've got our two outputs, which controls our double acting cylinder. And you'll see this in operation here. When I push 1, it extends, and even if we check, that's fixed in position. I can't pull that, that's locked in position as the air is going through, and then I can retract it over on this side. So our pilot is operating, we're piloting both sides, we're taking a pulse in from both sides. And again, these each one of these valves has its own air supply, so you could set up differential air supplies there. But basically we're just indirectly controlling this cylinder. Because before we were directly controlling, because this was piped directly into the cylinder, but now we're indirectly controlling it because we're going from here up to this pilot valve and then up to here. So again, just kind of pushing on from our various types of DC valves that we can have. This is pilot operated, pilot returned 5-2, pilot operated spring returned 3-2 direction control valves, and then these are ones we've seen before.